What's up, guys? So we know that there is a Zelda movie being planned right now, a live action one, and we don't really know when it's going to drop. A lot of people are thinking probably around 2026 when the next Mario movie comes out. But yeah, it's probably going to be a very long time until we start seeing more information about this. But we know the director of the movie, being Wes Ball, is very adamant to making sure that this is the best video game adaptation that they can possibly make. Now, of course, the entire internet was blown out of proportion when they found out that yes, this is going to be a live action movie, not an animated one, which does kind of suck because there's just some things that you can't recapture in a live action movie. However, it could be done right if done right, and I think that this director is a really good option for this movie. Now, for the most part, Wes Ball has always been extremely confident in his ability to make this movie a reality, and actually has been saying for a very long time that he's always wanted to make a Zelda movie. There's reports going back as far as 2010 with him saying that he really hopes to one day see a Zelda movie through and be able to have the chance to direct it and how big it would be. And the fact that this was so many years ago and then he's actually getting this opportunity now is kind of cool. Now, for those that maybe don't know exactly some of the movies that Wes Ball has directed, well, he's directed every single Maze Runner movie, and personally this is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. I love the Maze Runner movies, and actually he's working currently right now on a reboot of Maze Runner that was just announced the other day, which is pretty cool. And he's also helped direct Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is the 4th installment for the brand new Planet of the Apes movies, and other things like Ruin, Phoenix Forgotten, and Mouse Guard. I don't know a whole bunch about those movies, but yes, but the Maze Runner trilogy is like a post-apocalyptic Earth, and I like the vibe of that, and I think that could be, you know, carried on to Zelda pretty well, because Zelda isn't based off of like human Earth. It's its own fantasy world with fantasy locations, so maybe that helps, you know, in that regard. But either way, I have trust in this guy, and let me tell you why. From the moment this movie got announced, Wes Ball has been taking to Twitter to let people know that he is doing everything in his power to make this the most ideal Zelda movie for Zelda fans, and even has gone on report to say, yes, he has an awesome idea for the film, and he wants it to fulfill people's greatest desires. It's got to feel like something real, something serious and cool, but fun and whimsical. And he's been taking to social media constantly, you know, giving us that reassurance that this is going to be a true Zelda movie experience, that it's going to stay true and harken to the games. Just the other day, he gives even more reassurance, stating, "We're working on it. I think it's going to be great. Fans are going to be happy. Legend of Zelda to me is one of the most important things ever in my life. You know, next to Star Wars. I played Legend of Zelda throughout my childhood into my adulthood. You know what I mean? I am a fan. I am a fellow fan. I will go into the ends of the earth to make sure that this is the movie we all hope it will be." So this isn't some ordinary director working on a video game film. This is a Zelda director that is a Zelda fan first, working on a Zelda film, which is the best situation, the best possible outcome we could have wished for. And of course, people could just be saying this. We don't know how big of a fan this person is. Maybe Wes Ball is just saying this to get us hype. Maybe he is really truly a huge fan that's played most of the games. Who really knows? But these comments are huge pieces of reassurance for us fans, because that's all we're really hoping here, is that this does pay homage to the games. There's a very good chance that we could have got a Zelda movie that's just trying too much new things and taking away from what the games were and what made the game so good. And yeah, I want to talk a little bit about what they could do and what makes this super simple to make this a really good Zelda movie. I think one of the biggest problems with video game adaptations is they don't adapt the game. They try to create some new story and change what the characters are supposed to be and just try to overall change what the story even is. I mean, look at live action Mario Brothers. I know this isn't a good example, but it tries too hard to be something new and doesn't directly pull from the games and give us a story with characters and worlds built from those games. Now, we don't need the exact retelling from a Zelda game like the entire story of Ocarina of Time but on film, but just pull from the various different Zelda games and construct a new story. And that's exactly what the Mario Brothers film did. It didn't pull from Mario Odyssey or Mario 64 or Mario Sunshine. It made its own story with characters and worlds and different things from past Mario titles and brought them all together for a unique origin story for the Mario Brothers. And that's exactly what this Zelda movie can do. And what makes Zelda so much easier is the fact that every single Zelda game, for the most part, outside of a couple of sequels, actually is its own unique story in the timeline and can have a unique character or world. So this movie can just be that, an essentially new story, a completely new story, starring new characters and maybe even a new part of the world. Of course, it's probably going to be Hyrule still. You're still going to have locations like Death Mountain and Zora's Domain, and of course Hyrule Castle and Hyrule Castle Field and all that stuff. But at the same time, it could just be a new story of how, everything plays out. It could be heavily inspired by Ocarina of Time or maybe even Twilight Princess or something along those lines, but still tell its new story in a new way with these familiar characters. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I really wish Nintendo and Sony would have came together on a different type of style for this movie, more of an animation type of, real world hybrid. And this actually reminds me a lot of the Terrible Fate Majora's Mask short fan film that was made by Ember Lab on YouTube, where essentially it was all taking place in the real world, but actually just had CGI characters such as the Happy Mask Salesman and also Skull Kid and Majora's Mask and even the fairies of Tattle and Tail. It was all CGI'd into a realistic world, which actually would have been really cool to see something like that for the actual Zelda film. I feel like one thing that just, is really turning people off is that live action part, and the part of just seeing a real Link or a real Zelda, and it's gonna look strange, and I hope it doesn't come off as corny. That's the thing I think we're all worried about, is the corny factor, and that includes all the crazy mythical creatures and characters that are in Zelda games, like the boss battles and the enemies, and also just the straight up characters like the Gorons and Zora. Hopefully their CGI animation looks really good compared to the humans, and I know it can happen. There's tons of movies out there with CGI creatures that are with the humans. Even in like Maze Runner, there were CGI creatures that were running with the kids in the maze and stuff like that. So it's definitely possible. It needs to look not corny, I guess, if that makes sense. Like Westball, keeps me happy knowing that it's probably not gonna try some weird crazy thing where they're like, okay, let's make a new looking Goomba for the sake of this movie, and it looked like this. And then I hope they don't do that with Zelda. Like, okay, this is our Goron. It's a new take on the Goron. It's special. Oh wait till you see our Zora. Keep all that unique stuff in your head and just go with what they should look like, but in live action and in CGI form. Like, just make them look like a clean HD modernized version of themselves from the games. You're good. Like this Goron mask someone made. Or is it a rock? It's some type of prop, but yeah, you get what I mean. It looks good. It looks like a Goron, but in real life. Cool. Great. Awesome. Do this. This does make me feel so much better though, seeing these comments from Westball, and it really just makes me feel like he knows what he's doing. This is a fan making a movie for other fans, and I just love that idea. So hopefully this movie comes to fruition the way that he's really hoping for it. This is his, childhood dream to make something like this, so I'm glad that it's a reality for him, and I hope he absolutely kills it, and just proves everybody wrong and shows that a live action Zelda movie can definitely rock it. So I can't wait to finally see something of this movie and see exactly where they're going with it, but hopefully we don't just see this abomination walk out the water or something.